Tomorrow, we'll be there. Welcome back. Brian and I just went and watched as the players were building their decks. Some interesting stuff, highlighted, I think, by Paul Reitzel just not having the deck that we thought he was going to have.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That was the biggest revelation for me.
He did not take the white signal at all.
Right, so he first picks Skeleton Eyes. Totally, it's funny. I talked to him, too. He saw the Tower Gargoyle. He joked, and Kibler is at the same table building, so Kibler's listening to this conversation. And he says if he'd been on the right, he would have taken the Tower Gargoyle, and he would have screwed his buddy.
And he said in a vacuum, that he would have, if he didn't know who was feeding him, he would have taken the Tower Gargoyle, and both of their draft decks would have been a disaster. So Paul was definitely benefited from knowing Brian's preference.
Right.
He said I would have taken Tower Gargoyle, and we both would have just been in an abyss.
Yeah. So Paul takes the Skeleton Eyes. He then gets shipped the Michaeloth, which is the obvious thing. But his theory is he knows Kibler's an Esper, so he figures Esper is often base white-blue. And so he just stayed away from the white.
Right.
Like, he didn't go in for the Steward, he didn't go in for the other Steward, and then he actually shipped both the Knight of New Alaris. Did you see they wound up in the same deck, though?
They did.
They went, I think, 7th and 8th, in fact.
Very, very late.
Yeah, Tom Ross has got both Knights. He's got one of the Stewards. He's got basically the green-white deck that we thought Paul Reitzel had, and somehow it's all the way on the other side of the table. He's going to be playing Reitzel in the quarterfinals.
Oh, wow.
Reitzel actually has to play against the green-white deck that he could have had.
Yeah, and speaking of decks that we were kind of expecting, we were sort of putting Zach Hill on Esper.
Yeah, he's Esper.
He's kind of Esper. I mean, he's actually kind of zombie.
Yes, that's fair.
He's got more of a zombie-themed deck.
Yeah, so the Death Baron that we saw flow through Kibler wound up in Zach Hill's hands. The Lich Lord, Unks the Lich Lord, that we saw flow through Kibler wound up in Zach Hill's hands. So I look at Zach, he's building his deck, and he's like, I've never played this guy before. I don't know if he's good, but he's got all the right creature types. So 2 copies of Infectious Horror are in Zach Hill's deck. Not only does Death Baron pump them up, not only does the Lich Lord see them, but he's got 2 copies of Mask of Riddles. Right. So he can make them really hard to block. Now suddenly he's getting in there for 4 a turn. They can't block, which is the problem with that guy. 4 power for 4 would be totally reasonable if it all wasn't for the 2 toughness. So he's got 2 masks, he's got 2 tribal effects, and he looks at me and he's like, yeah, and you know what? If I'm wrong, we're playing 4 sideboarded games. I'll just sideboard them out.
When I walked up to him and asked him about the deck, he said, the deck's a little loose, but I think it's very good.
Yeah, he did seem genuinely excited about it, and there was a little sort of smirk. Loose was the word he used with me.
He did first pick the Courier's Capsule, like we had said.
And
said it was absolutely the worst pack he'd ever seen in his life.
Wow.
And then it was Christmas morning when he got past the Tower
Worst pack of his life, so that pack is Lich's Mirror, Behemoth's Herald, Scourge Devil, Jund Battle Mage, Naya Panorama, Lightning Talons, Cathartic Adept, Obelisk, Blister Beetle, Coma Veil, Wave Skimmer, Plow Beast, Bane Wasp Affliction, always a good one, and Courier's Capsule.
Yeah. And then
it is pretty bad.
Yeah, it's pretty
especially
bad
for this draft.
Yeah, and then the next pack's Christmas morning, he gets past a second pick Tower Gargoyle.
Yeah, those come the other order in your you're like, I first pick Tower Gargoyle. Of course I'll second pick Courier's Capsule.
He opens up a Banefire in the second pack.
Yeah, and he was the one who wound up with the Crumbling Necropolis too, randomly.
Oh, so, very nice.
Yeah, that helps.
Well, he is not someone who's going to let mana fixing go by him.
Definitely not. So Zach's got Esper plus a Banefire with multiple tribal effects going on. I still think Kibler should have taken Unks, but Zach will have fun with it. Zach has the little kid deck.
Right.
No question.
Talking to Kibler, he felt that with the 2 walls, with the Scepter of Dominance, that he was able to buy enough time.
Isn't that when
to get to his win condition, which was going to be Sludge Strider, Kaleidostone, Esperzella.
Sure.
So he felt he had the win condition sort of already locked up, and then he really just wanted additional mana fixing, and he felt that was more important. And even more importantly, it gave him an additional density of artifacts. That it increased his artifact density, so that was also that was the typical. He loves.
He's very happy.
He loves his deck. So he's playing against Conley Woods.
Yes.
And so we talked about Conley's opens.
Speaking of people who love their decks.
Yeah, Conley has Caldera Hellion and Lava Lance as sort of the opening highlights.
Right.
And I thought his approach to building the deck was kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Did you take a look at it? And he's got a couple cards in there that, he's got like a Parasitic Strix and a Mechanist that are a little hard to turn on and don't do a lot, but they're really there because he doesn't have a ton of creatures, and they're mostly there as fodder for the Hellion.
Yeah, I was definitely struck by his curve, was the other thing. I don't think he has a 2-drop creature in his deck.
Right.
He's 5-color, so he's expecting to spend his early turns fixing his mana, and he's got really powerful effects. So yeah, the creatures are sparse and generally expensive.
Right. Mitamora's deck?
Yeah.
Pretty interesting. He was disappointed that he did not have a lot of 2-drops. But he did end up with 2 Vithian Stingers and a Quietus Spike.
Right,
so
oh, goodness gracious.
So he
was running the Quietus Spike?
He was running the Quietus Spike. He had it smack on top of his 2 Vithian Stingers.
Nice.
He wanted them to get to know each other, feel comfortable around each other, sort of hang out in the same circles.
Yeah, he went first pick Drum Hunter, second pick Stinger, third pick Stinger.
And his Drum Hunter does not do very much for him. He has 2 5-power creatures in his deck. He actually might have 3 5-power creatures in his deck. He is going to run it, but he can actually make a couple of other creatures get over the top with his red ability of his Naya Battle Mage.
Okay.
Which the Naya Battle Mage suddenly becomes draw a card.
Sure. Not bad. Mitamura plays against Christophe Gregoire, and I loved Gregoire's deck.
I think Gregoire's moved up in my pick order for this draft.
The thing is, he is not confident in it. So Gregoire, we talked about the fact that he opened Flame Blast Dragon. That's always nice. He also opened Megalanoth, took that. The thing is, he wound up not playing any white. He wound up not playing any green either. He is 2-color red black. He took the Flame Blast Dragon. He got shipped those Blightnings that we saw floating around the table, and so he actually managed to get into a red-black deck. The red-black deck for Gregoire, 2-color. He said he'd never played actual 2-color before.
Right. And yeah, he was disappointed with the removal in his deck.
Okay.
That was his concern, is he didn't have a lot of traditional removal. And he has 2 Wretched Banquets that he had drafted, but he's got a Goblin Assault and Cathari Bombers. So he's just like, I'm gonna have a lot of 1/1s. Right. The Wretched Banquets, he can't play both of them. He's running one and leaves one on the bench.
He has some really good green cards in his sideboard too. I mean, he had Might of Alara that he wound up not running. He had some big monsters that he wound up not running. But I think he made the right decision.
If anyone stumbles, they're gonna get run over by him very, very quickly.
The quote unquote bad cards that he says he's not real happy to be running, I think are actually quite fine. Like Breath of Malphegor. If you've got an aggressive black-red deck, you're like Blightning. That 5 damage is very relevant. I mean, Lava Axe was good back in the day.
If there's a deck that it's going to be good in, it's his.
Right. But I mean, my point, the other one is Demonic Dread. He's like, I don't know, but I'm like, this starts to add up into a really nice, tight little synergistic.
I think there's a lot of synergy in his deck, and very little opportunity for his deck to stumble on.
Right. And I think he just hasn't actually played this deck before. Right. But, I mean, smart guy, and it kind of fell to him, and he went with it, and, built it 2-color, got rid of the green splash. He's super tight, consistent, 2-color, and, I think his deck looks really good.
Right. What do you think about Tom Ross's deck?
Tom Ross's deck looks great to me. I mean, he's the one who got the green-white dream that Reitzel could have had. Double Knight of Lualara. It could have been better. I mean, when I was talking to him, he's like, it's good, but he kept thinking back about what could have been, because he could have been 2-color green-white if he'd been, like, tunnel visioned all the way through. He could have been 2-color green-white, but he's not. He's got red in the deck. I mean, it's some good cards, but, like, he wishes he had another Bant Sureblade and, just another couple of aggro 2-drops, 2-color mana base. Could have been just spectacular, and instead it's good.
Right. Did you look at Michael Hepke's deck?
I didn't get a close look at it.
So I did. His first pick out of his pack, which was the 7th pack. Take a look at his pack and tell me what you think he took out of that pack.
First pick?
First pick.
So the pack is Death Duelist, Plow Beast, Dreadscape, Aven, Visionary, Dragonfodder,
And remember, you guys at home are going to be able to sit down and get through all these drafts through the draft viewer.
Crumbling Necropolis, Firefield Ogre, Platoon, Goblin Assault.
Yeah, what are you taking out of that pack?
I probably take Stinger.
What if
Maybe Executioner's Capsule. No, I take Stinger.
What if Martin Juza told you to be blue-white?
If Martin Juza told me to be blue-white, I might just listen to him.
So he
But then he didn't take the Death Duelist.
He did take the Death Duelist.
I thought that's Kibler's Death Duelist.
No,
Kibler third picked that Death Duelist.
he told me he had first picked it. So maybe
Where did Kibler's Death Duelist
maybe
come
he was
from?
fibbing.
Oh, Minamura had a Death Duelist.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, Kibler second picked Death Duelist.
Right.
So he first picked Death Duelist. Wow.
And he told him to be very blue-white, but he ended up getting a late Bant Charm
Okay.
and some other Bant cards. And he ended up being a little more Banty than he's comfortable with. But I thought his deck looked. He's got both the Esper Cormorants we saw floating around the table. He's got a very, very nice aggressive blue-white package that sort of is a little compromised by having to accommodate green cards.
Got it. And this is why Kibler didn't see much after he took that Death Duelist.
Right.
So yeah, we were kind of right. We sensed that there must be, maybe it's an Esper deck, maybe it's just a blue-white deck, maybe it's Bant. And it turns out it was, 2 to Kibler's right.
Right.
Makes sense.
So it was Hebke who took, first pick Death Duelist, second pick Seaside Citadel.
Sure.
And I think a third pick, he might have taken Cathari Screecher.
Makes sense.
So, he was pretty dedicated blue-white. His deck looks like it could come out of the gates very, very quickly as well.
I agree. It looked pretty good.
As long as he doesn't trip over his green mana, like he'd be very happy to never draw his green mana or his green cards. So,
let's go through the matchups.
Okay.
The players are, we can see, sitting down, starting to get mic'd up. We're not too far away. They've got their, take a bathroom break, get ready for the quarterfinals. Paul Reitzel versus Tom Ross. What do you like? Reitzel's got pretty good red-green. Ross has got pretty good green and white.
He can come great. Ross can come roaring out of the gate. I got to give the edge to Reitzel. I think Michaeloff is just such a powerful card, and the removal in Reitzel's deck should be pretty good against the green-white.
How much removal did he wind up with? There wasn't a ton of removal in this draft.
But we certainly saw the Skeleton Eyes.
Right.
And we don't have his list in front of us yet.
No, I'm just trying to think of what Kibler passed him, and Kibler passed him creatures.
Right.
Kibler was consistently passing him really good creatures. I don't remember much in the way of removal spells.
Oh, maybe he's a little white.
I mean, unless we didn't get to see Conflux, what was coming into him in Conflux. Right. But I like Tom Ross there. I think Tom Ross's deck, just the raw power. I mean, Knight of New Alara is going to come down. There's 1 million gold creatures in Tom Ross's deck.
But you've also
Knight of New Alara.
You've also had that draft with the Knight of New Alara, though, and you come down and it's a 2/2, and you've got a green guy, and
right.
It's sort of like the same thing we were talking about the Arsenal Thresher, where that card can be a little inconsistent.
Sure.
I'm gonna go with Reitzel here.
All right.
I'm gonna go. That's my pick.
All right. The other match on that side of the bracket: Mitamura versus Gregoire.
But I really like Gregoire here. If not for the 2 stingers in Mitamura's deck,
that is a bad matchup for him, isn't it?
It seems like it could be a little troublesome, and there's not a ton of removal for Gregoire to deal with them.
I see your point. The stingers are very good. I think Gregoire's just got a great deck, though.
Sure.
I think that little black-red deck is really tight, really well set up to win for Gregoire. You're going to pick Mitamura? He's been your pick the whole weekend.
I'm going to pick Mitamura, although I'm a little tugging at my collar on it because he doesn't have a lot of early plays.
Right.
And he seemed very, very uncomfortable with the deck. But again, I think the 2 stingers are just let's just say this: they're going to be the key to that matchup.
Yeah, if Gregoire gets a good fast draw, I don't think Mitamura's deck is fast enough to keep up with him. But if Gregoire comes out slow, Mitamura's got the better mid and late game.
Sure.
I mean, if he gets to his 4 drops, if he gets to start dropping rocks brute, and he's still got a comfortable life total, Mitamura should be in good shape.
I have a hard time seeing Hebke beating Zach Hill.
Yeah, Hebke's deck is good, but I think Zach's deck, it's a little loose.
It is. I still. I mean, you're welcome to pick Hebke. I'm gonna stick with Zach Hill on this one.
Fair. And then Kibler versus Conley. Conley Woods, Brian Kibler.
I mean, on raw power, you have to give the matchup to Conley, but
how does he win through double wall of denial?
that's the question. He doesn't have a ton of guys. His best guys late in the game is his best plays late in the game is going to be his two Paragons.
Oh, right.
And those don't get through the wall either.
Conley went 5-color, like Conflux, he's just like, oh, here's Paragon of 5-color awesomeness. He got multiples of those things. He got the red and white Paragons. He got the red and the white Paragons, right?
He just got one of them, and he was like, okay, I'm clearly the 5-color player here.
Right. But Wall of Denial seems really good against him.
Lavalanche for 8?
I think Lavalanche for 8 is exactly.
11 mana.
It's not like Kibler's got counterspells.
Right. He's got the soul manipulation.
And it's funny, Kibler was showing me his victory condition. He's actually running an Ether Rot page. He got apparently Jamie Park owned him with it in a draft last night. They were doing just sit behind. Kibler's deck seems very good at never dying. He's going to sit behind double wall, get the page running, sort of gain 2 until you start picking off your opponent.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Paragon could gain life for Conley, so it's an Ether Rod page. Like, I'm not convinced Kibler, like, both people are going to have trouble winning. That game could go really long.
I think Kibler is favored in the long game.
I wish he had another couple flyers and an Unks, and then I would like Kibler's deck a lot more. I feel like he's got like Espresso Kaleidoscope shenanigans, but if he just had a couple more flyers and an Unks, I think his deck would be. I would like his deck better.
I talked to him about that Espresso pick, and he said that it was a little bit of a gamble for him, but he just felt like there were so many good things possible. Yeah, coming later in that pack and coming in the third pack.
Sure. Was it Espresso versus the Cormorants? Is that what happened?
Yeah, it was Espresso versus.
I guess that one doesn't bother me. That one doesn't bother me. But then after that, he could have had a Talon Trooper and an Unks in his deck, and instead he's got, like...
Right. Well, he took the Arsenal Thresher, which is going to be... Which I assume he's hoping is going to be a nice fatty for him to, lock up continue additional lockup. And he feels like he's going to be able to get through with those, thanks to the dominant...
Did you ask him about the Architect of the Will?
I didn't ask him about that.
Your Architect's Espresso, it seems like it could have been really good for him there.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's his game, right?
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, he's got...
That's how it's the Lavalanche answer, right? You just keep the Lavalanche, you never let it get to the top of the library.
Keep pushing it down, you can have any other card.
How the players doing?
So, our picks... Let's go through our picks again here. So I like Wrightful, you like Ross?
Sure.
I kind of like Mitamora, you like Gregoire?
Yes.
I'm a little soft on my Mitamora pick, but I'm going to stick by it.
I actually think all 4 matches are interesting.
Yeah, I think they're very interesting. Zach Hill over Hebke, where do you fall?
I like Zach a little better.
Yeah, I do too. I think
he's right to run it. He's actually got the deck where you want Infectious Horror.
Right. And I think it's going to be Kibler dancing to the semifinals in the match we're going to start tuning in on.
We will see. They're shuffling up hands. We'll try to get them queued up. Make sure all the mulliganing is happening before we get started.
Right. It was interesting watching Conley get to work on his mana. Yeah, very complex chart.
Kibler's taking a mulligan.
He had a lot of, he's red black, and he's got he's got crystallization in his deck, and he's got the blue cards, and he's got the Paragons. The 5-color deck.
But I mean, he's got double. He's got Recluse.
He's got 2 power
Recluse and white.
Which he's also counting among his win conditions, because if he draws the mana, he can also just play those guys.
He's got an Honorary Sphere.
Which can also lock up the ground against, the small aerial assault of Kibler.
So what's the... Kibler's talking down there. I heard my name. I don't know what he's saying. So Conley Wood's playing in his second Pro Tour.
He played at Worlds before this. This is actually his first Pro Tour in terms of advancing through the ranks of, making it through day 1, getting through day 2, making the top 8.
Yeah. There you go. Look at him, 22 years old.
Yep. Won a PTQ playing Extendigeddon.
Extended guy.
That was, he was playing Boom Bust in Johnny and I forget what the other. He had one other. Oh, and he was playing Thoughts of Ruin. He just really took the extended format by storm. He's just a very interesting deck designer. Always does something interesting. He played Necro Skidder at Grand Prix Seattle.
Wow. Okay. 6 Grand Prix money finishes. Yeah, that's a nice stat for somebody. I mean, second Pro Tour ever, first time he sort of qualified through the ranks. 6 Grand Prix money finishes, 10th in Dallas was sort of the highlight there. He's from Fort Collins, Colorado.
Yep, podcaster. Does very articulate talking about the game. I was very impressed with him yesterday.
And he was the one who played the 5-color aggro deck, right? Ziggurats and
yes.
Somehow he's got
Sidraxis, Spectre, Rox Warmonk, and Willie Thokdar all coming down on turn 3 in his deck. Not at the same time.
He's talking about and Blood Braids to flip them up, right?
Yeah.
So he plays Blood Braid Elf and just all the best 3-drops.
Yeah.
It's funny.
But he didn't play Blightning, which was very interesting. Right?
Really?
Yeah, he didn't play Blightning.
Well, you can't Ziggurat it, right?
And that's exactly right. He didn't play Blightning, and he didn't play Maelstrom Pulse. Which were two, very ubiquitous cards in those decks. Even as you went up to the 5-color versions, right? Because it's just so exciting to flip either of those cards off of a Blood Braid Elf.
Right. Draft strategy, draft Esper or Grixis, move into 5-color control if possible.
And that's exactly what he did.
And
he 6-0'd the draft yesterday.
Yeah,
He called this his second best draft of the 3 drafts he's done.
Okay.
This weekend. So,
best non-Magic thing he did in Hawaii, Day at the Beach.
There was a lot of that in the profiles.
Sure. Kibler's best non-Magic thing, eating at Sushi Sasabuni on Dave Williams, thanks to the credit card game.
I cannot argue with anyone eating at Sushi Sasabuni, claiming that we ate that again last night.
So good.
If you're in Hawaii, go to Sushi Sasabuni.
If you're in the Central Pacific, right, you're in Guam, Fiji, you got to go to this restaurant. Right. Unbelievable. Yeah. Expensive, but
best meal you've ever had in your life?
Totally worth it. Best meal I've ever had in my life.
Same.
Well, it looks like we're about ready for the quarterfinals. Kibler had to mulligan down to 5, but we're going to go see how he can do with those cards. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with the quarterfinals. Hello and welcome to Pro Tour Honolulu. I'm Randy Buehler. I'm here with Brian David Marshall, and we are ready for the quarterfinals. It is Shards of Alara Block Booster Draft. The players have drafted their decks, they've built them, and now they're ready to battle. Find out what the opponent drafted, see how their own deck works. We are going to start on the match between Brian Kibler of the United States and Connolly Woods of the United States. Connolly drafted a 5-color deck. He's got some really saucy bombs. Kibler has got Esper. He's blue-white.
Shocking,
a couple of Wall of Denials to hide behind. Unfortunately for Brian, though, he did have to mulligan to 5 before this first game started. That's 3 out of 5, though. So
Lightning's got to you.
We're going to see. Kibler saying, hopefully those lightnings didn't get to you.
7 days a lot of lightnings.
Brian and Paul Reitzel were both sort of moaning about all the lightnings that they saw going by.
Yeah, those lightnings wound up with Christophe Gregoire.
You said your deck has the nuts and gnats in it?
It has the nuts, dude. The nuts.
Okay. I believe you.
I don't think he believes him.
I don't think so either. Does Conley have a 3rd land here? He's going to cycle for test. He's going to show him a 2nd one. No. There's his 3rd land. Cal Recluse cycling for.
The deck is a choice here. Okay.
He's got to announce his choice before he looks through his deck.
Oh, yeah, sure. Kibler, you see Kibler trying to figure out what his opponent's up to. He's pretty finally figured out how to put it on 5-color.
More than 3 colors. Generally, when you have plains and you have mountain and swamp, it's not a very good draft deck in this.
If I'm playing the guy in a 2-color deck over forest without 3 colors, come on. You know better. You know better. I'm just waiting for your top.
Kibler's done been doing he's done a good fair share of coverage. I can let him do the color.
Man. Or if I could just have, drafted my constructed deck. Like I did day 1.
Kibler had a really sick little Esper aggro deck. Thanks to Neil Reeves. Dr. Foundries and Storm Blades, and he had one of the best constructed records of anybody on the weekend.
2-1,
8-1-1.
He's a sick trailblazer, let me tell you.
Isn't he 1-1?
Well, so it was 2-1.
2-1, right, 2-1.
Power always remains the same. He's
Sorry.
got only one planes, even though he's got blue and black from his border post.
Conley untaps for turn 4.
I hope you just
Fourth
say go.
man. He's almost at the domain.
No, but I just want to say go.
4 mana, 4 different colors. Pretty slow start.
And it sounds like from Richie was he actually had that land in his hand last turn when he cycled.
Go.
That was awesome.
No play. Conley.
I think I could rumble with the 2 power flyer for a little bit.
Well, he'll bash you.
Ow. 18.
This is a pretty slow start for Kibler, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see what he does on turn 4, but certainly in this format, 5-color can be
White,
incredibly
white,
powerful,
well,
especially if you're the only 5-color drafter at the table. Here, Kibler spends his 4th turn land cycling. Hopefully he's got a 2-drop to play onto the board. The problem with the 5-color archetype is that you can often just get run over. If your opponent goes guy over the course of the first 4 or 5 turns of the game, you get run over. You spend your time fixing your mana,
Actually, right now,
and
it's probably better for me.
you never get the chance to actually play your more powerful spells. But the way this draw has played out, Kibler mulligan for
Shockingly
5. He's got just a Trailblazer.
It's pretty big. I like that.
Your discard's like here. It's supposed to be over here.
Is it?
That's what
Kibler's
the zones
walking
are
through
for.
the,
This is like the stuff you don't want to see.
What happened to the red zone?
How you
It used to
use
be
the-
the red zone. This isn't red. I mean, it could be red. I'm calling
White
it,
zone.
but... Your turn.
The red zone was actually introduced at, was that introduced in Chicago at Kibler's, might have Kibler's Rift Pro Tour?
Really? What a jerk.
Wow. Volcanic submersion blows up a border
You didn't want to get, this one? He'd be a 2-1 again.
Wow.
Takes out a blue and a black source.
Right, it's Kibler's only known blue, and he land cycled for the black, so...
Also,
By
actually,
the way, there's a third wall denial in the
it's kind of rude
it's in
to
Conley's.
destroy your opponent's mana when he got
in
wall.
Conley's hand. No blue mana for Conley, though.
Deal.
Kaleidoscope. Kibler hoping to draw back into blue mana, probably. Yeah, no blue mana. Smart play from Conley Woods. Blew up the border post with a volcanic submersion.
This is
Conley
in that deck, too? Look at your graveyard.
I love that.
Your deck looks awesome so far.
Hey,
Then again, so does mine.
you can talk after game 3.
I can talk right now.
Wow. These matches can go 5 games. That was a little bit of trash talk from Conley.
You've main deck this because you're playing me first round.
Exactly. I was like,
I mean, if anyone was playing Kibler after
Yeah.
watching him, I would absolutely...
Pretty smart. The White Paragon.
Bone Splitters?
1 blue mana away
That would
from
be a
activating.
cool play.
So when I was watching him, I think his only blue sources might be
So that's close.
border posts.
For Conley?
For Conley.
I'll get in.
I'm sure he's got an
He
island.
may have one island.
He's got an armillary sphere. I'm sure he's
Oh,
got
yeah.
Drag down.
Drag down will take out the Paragon. Kibler doesn't want to see the blue
Do some
mana.
stuff here.
Let that guy go active.
It's kind of lucky to be able to do some stuff.
But yeah, Kibler
Only I could do.
really struggling
Man.
under a double mulligan
Yeah.
and having his only blue source blown up. Oh, quick result on the back table. Sounds like Tom Ross has taken a quick win from Paul Reitzel. Lapse of certainty plus a Reitzel stumble. Yeah.
So we talked about Ross's deck. Let's, could cut
Double
out
Knight of New Alara.
2, 3, 4. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm confusing with Heck Game. Yeah, he's got the Steward Knight of New Alara.
He's only got one of the 2 stewards.
You're tired of getting beaten, and yet you say go. You 5. You've got a lot of action over there. I don't know. Kind of what could be going on.
Yeah, both players are stumbling on blue mana.
Look at this anemic
Just
beatdown.
because I'm tired does not mean I have anything to do
The
about it.
score under the screen is incorrect. It's actually
I'll bite.
Conley who's going down to...
Man down.
Is that branch off?
And we actually have deck lists now.
All right. Well, Conley finally dispatches the annoying.
Oh, what are you doing?
I double mulligan and you killed my mana.
Inamura takes a quick game from Gregoire.
Now you'll do something. Ooh. Whoa.
Couple of 4/4 smashing in. Gregoire got double blightning,
You're
but
done messing around, you're gonna
couldn't
land
deal with
cycle.
Rock's Brute.
Yeah, I was trying to draw up an after way and it didn't happen.
I'm having some problems with that myself. You got Clydes down there.
I do.
That guy's a beefy.
It's sick. What's he in your deck for? You obviously draw it. That's not nice.
Grixis
Pass
Slave
that
Driver.
turn. You can do your ogre now, no? If you really want.
Grixis Slave Driver is pretty good, pretty fine here. Kibler's hand, by the way, all blue cards and an Executioner's Capsule. Those are some goodies. Lots of goodies, and can't cast any of them. Could cast the Capsule. I think you'd prefer to save it as a surprise.
Right. 16. Almost caught up.
Now the Slave Driver comes over for 4. There's the island.
And there's a second Ridge Runner.
Now you have nothing.
Which is angry with Kibler for mocking his brother earlier.
Plains number 4 for Kibler.
Elemental.
Yeah, we'll just get the point. Let's take a look. Kibler's got 6 islands. He only has 2 swamps in the deck, 7 plains, 6 islands.
Get 2 plains. Well, he's up to 5, so
I actually just
throw Kaleidoscope.
like off blue mana. But that's gonna have to do.
There's a gigantic...
I will reveal
6 artifacts.
No, just 3.
Alright, we got Esquizola.
Reveals Esquizola, Capsule, and Sludge Spreader. It's the other reason all the Executioner's Capsule in his hand on. So that's going to be a 5/5 Thresher. Big enough to beat up the Slave Driver.
Capsule, and you actually kill my blue sword. Sort of was expecting it to have value, but you got me good. I'm sure this guy's going to die immediately.
Burn for 1.
Most likely.
Probably going to burn for 1.
Go.
Should burn for 1, right?
Should burn for 1.
See if anybody notices.
It's not going to die, but it's not going anywhere.
Crystallization?
Good call. There you go.
You got him. I think
10.
Yeah, there's 10. Crunch it over.
Kibler is at 5.
Kibler's at 5 with no blue mana.
I will
And
pass the turn.
hard to imagine him coming back out of this, even if he draws his blue mana.
Which he did.
Right? He's got 2 creatures to deal with.
all the time.
All denial. That's a good start.
Deal.
Go.
So what? He can block the Ridge Runner and go to 1?
He'll go to 1 here.
Conley continues to land cycle. Oh. It's funny. I see Conley has got Lavalanche in his hand. Do you show it? Or do you hold it?
Alright, I was trying not to show
I'm not
you
sure you
this
play
card, I
it.
guess.
That's what he's saying. I was trying not to show you this card, but doesn't want to.
What was you?
Sure. The 1?
Yep.
Lavalanche you for 1.
Oh!
Or a lot more.
There you go. Conley Woods takes game 1, hoping to win it without showing his opponent the Lavalanche, but
Kibler makes a giant low
he only gives his opponent to 1, so Conley Woods does, in fact, Lavalanche Kibler's face, and there you
Killed my
go.
land. It may very well still won the game.
Maybe.
My border post.
Mikkel Hebke has Obelisk of Alara in play in game 1 against Zach Hill. That's a tough card to deal with. I'm not even sure Zach has answers.
Your deck seems pretty anemic on the beatdowns. I'm gonna throw that out there.
Have you never played against back row control before?
I have. And,
You're always anemic on the beatdowns.
I mean, I don't know if that's quite true, but
So I think we're going to see if we can switch to another game here while these guys sideboard and
Because I got stuck on 5.
oh,
Brian can play Ridge Rennet.
I was trying to play that Pale Wreck, but it's not cycle it, and I went to poop.
So I think we're going to go over and maybe look at
catch up with
Middlemore's match.
Lavalanche.
Deal. That may or may not be a true statement.
Very, very kind of you.
which is Christophe Gregoire of Belgium and Kazuya Mitamura of Japan. Mitamura's, we were talking about him earlier.
Yeah, Mitamura,
to our top 8.
crossed over to 100 pro points. He does have more top 8s than Brian Kibler. Does not have as many pro points as Brian Kibler. The two of them are really the twin veterans in this top 8. So Mitamura did take the first game. Gregoire drafted a tight little black-red aggro, couple of Blightnings, Breath of Malfagor, a deck that I have seen be really
Goblin
good.
Assault, Cathari Bombers.
And Mitamura is red-green. He isn't happy with his curve. He wishes he had a couple more 2-drops, but if he's alive and at a decent life total, he can just start dropping like Rocks, Broods, and good 4 and 5 drops. He has a Gorger Worm in play. So Mitamura seems like he's gotten to this good part of this game.
Gregoire looks like he just has a couple lands in play.
Oh, this was a Vithian Stinger game. That's what's happened.
The Stinger looks like it probably fell to did it fall to a Retro Banquet, or?
I see. Is that volcanic fallout? Magma Spray, sorry. Is that all mountains for Gregoire? So Gregoire mulliganed. He did have Dragon Fodder, but Mitamura had the Stinger to answer it. Did eventually get Magma Sprayed, but the tokens are gone, and it's all mountains for Gregoire. Wow, you got to feel for the guy. He goes to all the trouble of playing a 2-color deck, so he's not going to have mana problems, and he can only draw 1 color. Mitamura looking pretty good. Gorger Worm doing some damage.
He played another creature on. There we go. We get an overhead side. It looks like it's a.
Siege Mind Ogre.
And the Jund Sojourners have joined the team for.
And there is finally a swamp for Gregoire, but scoops him up.
Wow, that's 2 quick games for Mitamura.
2 quick games for Kazuya Mitamura. I wasn't sure that this was He didn't seem in love with this deck, but it's doing just fine.
Yeah, he's playing mostly red-green. He's got a tiny bit of a black splash. He's got the Quietest Spike for his 2 Lithian Stingers. He's got a Blister Beetle.
Yeah, Drum Hunter, but not a lot of action.
No, he does not have a lot.
Weaver.
He's like maybe 3 cards that will trigger the draw card off of the Jungle Hunter.
Right. Outlander, Fiery Fall. A couple of Ember Weavers looked decent to me. And he's got a lot of red creatures. I mean, that guy when he's turned on is good.
Decent amount of removal.
Right, he's got a Bloodbraid Elf, Deadshot Minotaur, Gorger Worm, Rock's Brute, Vengeful Rebirth, Violent Outburst, Sojourners. I mean, it seems like it's a good solid red-green, touch a little bit of black kind of a deck. Certainly, the format is capable of delivering up faster decks with more aggressive curves.
Doesn't really look like a 3-0 deck at this table.
I think that's fair. It doesn't look amazing, but it looks plenty good enough, especially if your opponent's going to have problems like Gregoire just did.
All right, we're going to see while these guys shuffle. We're going to see if we can find another game. Maybe we can switch to another in-progress game. See the overhead shot.
Hebke has taken game 1 from Zach Hill, by the way.
Okay.
Obelisk of Alara was good enough to get it done.
I mean, he doesn't really get to use any of the. He can draw a card with his Obelisk. He can gain life with his Obelisk, and he can giant growth with his Obelisk. He doesn't really have. He doesn't have the the sort of full abilities of the artifact.
I think he has enough.
That's probably enough. The 5 life is just so brutal, impossible to race with. We see Gregoire deciding if this is a hand he can keep. He does decide to keep
but
it,
not
but
Mitamura
cannot.
Yeah, Gregoire's deck, 8 mountains, 8 swamps, should be a pretty solid, consistent mana base. A pair of Blightnings. He's got Magma Spray, Lightning Talons, Jund Battle Mage, Goblin Assault, Flame Blast Dragon is the headliner. Bone Splinter with Dragon Fodder. It's also got a Thorn Fresh by Ashino that can gobble up some tokens.
There you're looking at Mitamura's resume.
Yeah, 92 pro points coming into this, so he's up to at least 104. 3rd Pro Tour top 8, adding on top of Charleston and Yokohama. So
Funny story about Minamura. I got to watch him draft in Okayama Grand Prix earlier this year, and he was at the top 8 table opposite Guillaume Wafatapa.
Okay.
So he's going to have a quarterfinal matchup with his Pro Tour Yokohama final opponent.
Mulliganing down to 5. Go ahead.
And he was really, really had Guillaume Wafatapa in his sights.
Yeah.
And he knew Wafatapa was going to be Esper.
Okay.
And he just drafted a deck that could only beat Guillaume Wafatapa. That was the only thing he cared about. He actually could not win past that.
Huh.
But all he wanted to do was beat Guillaume.
Avenge his Yokohama final loss? Did it work?
It did work. He beat Guillaume's deck looked awesome. It was just fantastic Esper deck, and he was just, naturalizing and refracturing and whatever it was. I don't remember which cards were out yet at the time, but he just had green artifact removal and just blew Guillaume out.
Did he then lose in the semis?
I'm not sure if he lost in the semis or the finals. I think he lost in the semis.
All right, well, there you get a good look at Christophe Gregoire. 56 pro points. He's been around. He's been basically a gravy trainer for the last couple of years.
56 pro points without a top 8 before this.
Yeah.
Without even a GP top 8.
He was on the Belgian national team one year. So, good, solid, gravy-trained player. Been around for a while. And they are off to the races now.
Someone we saw featured in the
number 3
video.
Cycle to Carabid. And Border Post.
Border Post.
Definitely seen a lot of people paying 3 mana for the Border Post this weekend. Ramping so that they've got 5 on turn 4.
Right.
And meanwhile, Minamura cycles Sylvan Bounty, so he's going to have all 3 of his colors. Double mulligan to deal with, but not the fastest start for Gregoire. And we talked about his deck's capable of the really fast starts. Very little in conflux in his deck. A Keteric Parasite, 1 Wretched Banquet, an Outlander, and a Suicidal Charge. That's all he got. Basically, because he's got some green cards in his sideboard when he went to 2-color. Might of Alara, Paleoloth stayed in the sideboard. From Reborn, Double Bomber, Demonic Dread, Breath of Malphagor, Lightning Reaver, Carabid, Siege Mind Ogre, a Border Post, Sunai Drake, and a Jund Hackblade. His deck basically just skipped the middle pack, Christophe Gregoire.
I'm looking at, trying to see what card Christophe just played.
Thorn Thrash Viashino.
Thorn Thrash Viashino with with no Devour.
Wow.
A Hungry Viashino.
And there's an Outlander. Yeah, not to start Gregoire wanted to punish his opponent's double mulligan. Get a look at Gregoire's hand. He's got the Breath.
He's got the Lightning.
There's a Hackblade.
Hackblade with...
Oh, Lightning talents on Hackblade. Wow. Border Post is his multicolored permanent. All of a sudden, 6 power first strike. Yeah, Outlander tries to Viashino. That's pretty straightforward. But that is a 6 power first striking Jund Hackblade. Minamura is at 4. Needs to answer that, and Drum Hunter is not going to get the job done. Well, 6 more. Minamura falls to 8. There is 8 points of burn sitting in Gregoire's hand right now. He's got a Lightning, and he's going to follow up next turn with a Breath. So the reach in this black-red deck is going to get the job done here. And Minamura is thinking, but there's no life gain, right?
No, I don't believe so. Just keeping an eye over on the Kibler-Conley Woods matchup out of the corner of my eye. Kibler's hiding behind a wall of denial and has a 4/4 Arsenal Crusher and a Frontline Sage, while Conley has Grixis, Slave Driver, Firefield Ogre, and Parasitic Scripts. Oh, and there's a second wall for Kibler.
Wow, second wall denial for Kibler. That's what it does. All right, Minamura is deciding what to discard to that Lightning.
I've already moved on from this game.
Fair. Plays out a Gorger Worm, which
and
also
shows him the Breath of Malphagor.
There's Breath of Malphagor. Kazuya just smiles. He has been beaten. Gregoire gets on the board. Minamura still got a 2-1 lead. That's 3 out of 5, so Minamura still got 2 games. Only needs to win 1 of them. Hoping not to have to double mulligan next time, and consulting the sideboard now that he's lost a game and seeing what his opponent's deck is capable of.
Conley Woods is joking about decking Kibler as Kibler's digging with a Frontline Sage. But we're going to check in on Zach Hill's match.
Zach Hill, Mikko Hebke are starting game 2. Hebke up 1-0.
Game 2 is looking very good for Kibler now. He's just added a scepter of dominance to his 2 wall-up denials.
Yeah, it's not
And
clear. So one interesting thing that's going on for this top 8, there's a crowd of folks that have gathered at Games and Gizmos in Redmond,
Oh,
Washington.
yeah, absolutely.
Set up the big screen, ordered in some pizza.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out. Glad you guys could come. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast.
Yeah, if you guys are at Games and Gizmos or on Twitter, you should definitely communicate with us. We're both, Randy and I are on the Magic Pro Tour Twitter feed.
Magic Pro Tour.
They're just looking for your inevitable
The
epic.
Twitter thing's been fun this weekend.
I've had a great time.
I think it's a cool way to sort of experience the coverage, right? Get these little sort of blasts of information as you and I wander the
I
floor.
mean, you know, and you've been at home following coverage, and you want information faster, and
Yes.
it's not a criticism of. I mean, you know, there's a process that goes into putting together a feature match or a
Right.
video, but the Twitter is moment to moment.
Right. Okay, Hebke did a double mulligan in this game. We're pretty early. Hebke, though, is up a game. Zach Hill's got an Esper deck splashing just enough red to support a Banefire.
I really think it's more of a zombie deck.
Esper Stormblade comes down. Lich Lord of Unks comes down for Zach Hill. Homunculus for Hebke.
Come on. Mask.
Looks like Zach Hill just played a Mask of Riddles and equipped it onto his Stormblade.
How good is Mask of Riddles?
People seem pretty mixed on it.
Looks pretty good here.
Yeah, exactly. It seems fine. I mean, I find that there's a lot more sort of random artifact creatures that can block.
No, sure. Because of all the Esper stuff. Yeah, it's funny, talking to Zach during deck building, he likes the card. He's had 2 of them in the deck. He's looking at the 2, he's looking at the double Infectious Horror that he's running. Right, the Infectious Horror seems, okay, Crystallization on Stormblade here. That'll turn off the mask for now.
And then a Horde Homunculus from Hebke.
All right.
It can block a fear creature, an unusual ability for a white creature.
Sure. So Zach's own description of his deck is a little bit loose.
Yeah.
Like Infectious Horror with 2 tribal effects and the 2 masks. He's like, he thinks it all kind of combos together and becomes good. But I mean, those cards are controversial. Zabke's sitting on 14, trying to fight back through a double mulligan. Still sitting on just 2 lands.
Meanwhile, over at the Kibler match, Caldera Hellion just undid a lot of hard work from Kibler.
Couldn't kill those walls of denial, though.
Did not kill the walls of denial, shockingly. Scepter can be huge in that matchup because it can really keep Conley off of a key mana.
And Conley doesn't have a lot of creatures either. It is hard for him to win here. Kibler was working the front line safe, so he's probably has to actually win with damage, right?
Oh, sure.
Conley can, in theory, deck him.
Yeah, Conley might be able to deck him.
I figured we'd look at some other tables for a while. That match,
Yeah.
both of
took a while.
those decks are very good at not dying. So
See the Unks Zombie Lich Lord in play.
Should I get a zombie wizard token from somebody somewhere?
all right, Soul. Gotten his second pick in action. 8-8 Michaelov comes down. Right, so looking to even that match in a game apiece.
Volcanic Submersion just took out Scepter of Dominance over on the other table.
Oh, Kibler loses his Scepter. That Volcanic Submersion has been a really smart main deck inclusion so far. Conley Woods doing very well with that.
That sound you hear is Kibler getting all 3 of his mana.
Also to black. In theory, the guy's blue and black. Does production care about that?
Zach Hill hoping someone has tokens for his Lich Lord.
Blue-black tokens is what he was asking for.
That's what it makes. Blue-black tokens.
This guy's significantly more awkward.
There's a blue-black token.
Sure.
A battle.
There's a number of zombie synergies in the deck.
So Zach is attacking with a 1/1 into 2/2 Quarter Homunculus? Is that what's going on right here?
No. Sure. I'll deny reality this.
Haha, deny reality on the border post.
No.
That's the only artifact, so picking that up will turn the Court Homunculus into a 1/1, and it dies.
Yep.
Free Screecher for Zach Hill's trouble.
Nice sequence of plays there from Zach.
Yeah, definitely. Hepke actually draws a second border post.
Do you block there?
I think you have to. Hepke trying to figure out how to piece his way back into this. Can get both border posts into play.
Sure.
And does.
Go. That works.
So it sounds like we have 23 people in Redmond at the Games and Gizmos. Cool. People getting their draft on over there as well.
I'm sure.
Drafting some Alara block. Again, if any of those guys are on Twitter, I'd love to hear what they thought of Kibler's draft sequence.
Sure. Is it Ethereum Abomination?
Yep.
So Zach Hill looking really good. Hepke double mulligan. He stumbled on mana, and here he's got
Green, white, blue probably doesn't have a lot of board sweepers.
fair.
I can't even imagine some sequence of plays that he's able to really come back here. In time, anyway.
Okay. So Mask moves over to the A-bomb.
And getting in for 8.
Yeah. Crunching over. Hepke said go with access to 3 mana.
It's got a Bandit Charm. And a Resounding Wave.
You know what I think Hepke's best play is? Scoop him up. Don't show him those cards. He's not winning this game. He's not done yet. Alright, bounces the A-bomb. Turns off 4 damage. Still takes 4 down to 6. I just can't imagine. Maybe it's a little premature to scoop, but it's nice to have instants your opponent doesn't know about. These players do not know each other's deck lists.
Right. Over the semifinals, they will.
Over the lunch break, it's so hard to keep them sequestered and make sure they don't get, some friend who's been watching the broadcast telling them about the cards. So they will be given deck lists over the lunch break. They'll play their semifinal decks in full knowledge of their opponent's deck. But these quarterfinals are just like any other booster draft. You don't know what they've got. All you know is what you saw float through in the draft.
No.
And we have our first semifinalist. Congratulations, Kazuya Mitamura. 3-1. Takes out Christophe Gregoire, and you called that one. I really liked Gregoire's black-red deck.
It was kind of a collect call, though. I wasn't really
not
committed.
So confident. We both thought Gregoire's deck had the ability to just blow out Mitamura, but Kazuya got there. He'll be in the semis.
Well, again, we saw the Stinger just completely negated Gregoire's early turns in Game 2.
Grip full of action for Hepke, but not enough lands to get it done, and Michael Hepke loses. Zach Hill evens this match at 1 game each. Let's go to that game.
All right, we're going to take a look at Paul Reitzel in action against Tom Ross.
Yeah, trying to make sure
Guys
we
are
get
in the middle of Game 2. We have. Is this still the Michaeloff game, or?
Yeah, Reitzel played, and 8-8 Michael Ross, and eventually Tom Ross was able to answer it with an Oblivion Ring, but not before a bunch of tokens came down to play. Reitzel has added Hissing Iguanar to his board, so all of those tokens that the Michael Ross left behind before Oblivion Ring took it out are looking at, 1 point apiece. That'll be good enough to get the job done.
Looks like a pair of Rock's bodyguards in play for Tom.
Yeah, Ross has been fighting a good fight. Reitzel is actually down to 3 in this game.
It was 5, right?
Ross is at 5, but not clear that Ross has the ability to slog through those tokens. He's gained 3 life from a bodyguard, gained 3 life from a bodyguard. You see Reitzel drawing it up, trying to figure out, can I attack, can I get more? Just 2 planes in Tom Ross's hand, so he's struggling. Ross does lead this match 1-0 though. Ross is up a game. Reitzel's trying to even it up. Reitzel looks like he's trying to figure out, can I attack? There's 3 guys over there. A pair of 2/3 bodyguards and a Steward of Valoron. Reitzel's got a bunch of tokens left behind by Michaeloth, and he's got a Hissing Iguanar.
Plus 1/2, plus whatever this guy kills, right?
5 creatures on Reitzel's side of the board. Ross is on 5.
Everybody.
And there goes the attack.
And he sends everybody. So barring an instant, 2 of them will get through.
Nope.
3 of them will die. Yep. And no instants, no tricks for Tom Ross. Paul Reitzel has evened this match at a game apiece. I think we will hang out here and take a look at game 3 between these guys.
Kind of sucked, too.
You're voting in the turn before that, I get blown out. One turn later, you get blown out.
So
And that turns me. Let's have a close game.
Paul Reitzel, 23 years old, lives in LA. He's got a job as a headhunter, actually. He's played on the Pro Tour about 20 times. Qualified here via Grand Prix Los Angeles, which was actually his 3rd Grand Prix top 8.
And he said as long as they keep putting Grand Prix in Los Angeles, he'll keep playing on the Pro Tour.
Yeah, it seems like every couple of years he puts up another Grand Prix top 8, qualifies, and now between the Grand Prix points and this finish, he's back on the gravy train. He's up over 20 points already, so I
So this
suspect we'll
qualifies
see.
him for Austin, qualifies him for Worlds.
That's right. I mean, he'll be starting to ration that vacation time. It's funny. One of the stories I heard, he actually had a flight to go to Grand Prix Seattle and then go from Seattle to Honolulu back to LA. So he had the triangle flight set up for $600. Pretty good deal. Problem was he couldn't get all the time off work. So a week ago he actually canceled his flight. Couldn't get the time off work, canceled his flight, gets to Wednesday of last week, and he's just like, I gotta go. I can't not go to Hawaii. So buys a new flight, skipped to the Seattle portion of the lake, but he came to Honolulu, crashing at the beach house. They're calling it the baller beach house. Like the rundown of pros at this beach house, pretty remarkable. Jelger Vigersma, Mark Herberholz, Brian Kibler, Ben Rubin, Gabe Nassif, Jamie Park, Noah Bookin, Dave Williams, Dan Burdick, Reitzel, all crashing in one giant beach house for the week.
I think it's kind of funny when I guess Kibler was using his iPhone to Twitter about it.
Right.
It came out Ballet Beach House.
The ballet, yeah, I saw that. I saw
iPhone corrected baller to ballet, so
that. So instead of the baller beach house, it's the ballet beach house.
historically that might be the one that sticks.
That's pretty funny. Meanwhile, playing against Paul Reitzel is Tom Ross. Tom is 25. He's a video game designer from Louisiana. Qualified on ratings. He's played, I believe, this is his 5th Pro Tour.
One of the top ranked players in the world, right? He's
Yeah, absolutely.
33rd ranked in the world on total rating.
Absolutely. No, he's been playing for a while. 5th Pro Tour, like we said. Been state champion a few times. His best Pro Tour finish was actually the previous Pro Tour Honolulu, where he got 38th. Also put up a 9th place at Grand Prix Atlanta. He's also been, enjoying the beach, sitting in the jacuzzi, talking about decks. Played a Dauntless Naya deck, actually. Very not a lot of people played Naya aggro at this tournament.
Right.
But,
He felt like everything had sort of come around full circle to the pre-born days.
Yeah, he's like, let the Jun players metagame each other and try to make their Maelstrom pulses bad. I'm just going to beat you with red-green monsters. Took all the Willy Thoctars out of the deck, interestingly, in favor of Dauntless Escorts. And likes to draft white-based aggro strategies. You know what he's got? He's got a white-based aggro.
Yeah.
He's got green-white, got a touch of red. It could have been a little bit better. I mean, he seemed to be kicking himself a little bit. If he'd been just green-white the whole time, he could have had a two-color deck. He could have had maybe an extra Bant Sureblade, but he's full-on Naya. Got some red in his deck. I don't know. It still looks totally fine. Double Knight of New Alara.
Which came super late, right? Those came like 7th and 8th pick, or 8th and 9th pick?
7th and 8th, I believe. He would have first picked it. Can't be 9th. He would have first picked it. So, you know, Ackerson Squire, Oblivion Ring, Elvish Visionary,
Yeah, his
Mastodon,
first picks in the draft
Full
were,
Ceradon.
his first picks in the draft were, I think, Wild Nakatl and a Croson Squire.
Did he get Full Ceradon third? Full Ceradon second.
Second
pick Full Ceradon. So, I mean, that's, the red probably worth it. Full Ceradon. He's actually running Ash's favor. Lots of Certainty, Meditant, Filigree Fracture, Leotau, couple of Rock's Bodyguards. He's got a Bloodbraid Elf, he's got a Colossal Might, Firewild Border Post to fire them up, got a Vythian Renegade, Double Knight of New Alara.
He would love, one of the things he said about drafting Naya is he wanted to draft Naya and herd other people into Esper. He would love as many other players to be Esper in this draft as possible. He's got Filigree Fracture, he's got Naturalize, he's got the Vythian Renegades.
Nice.
He feels like, the last 4 games against an Esper player are stacked heavily in his favor.
I knew that when Michael Off was going to die as soon as they brought over a stack of 60 saplings. You know what I mean?
Reitzel, on the other hand,
They brought over 4.
Green, red, black.
You know what I mean? Like you would have.
he first picked, we watched the draft next to Reitzel. We saw Kibler open up and pass Michaeloff, knowing that his housemate was going to err
by
on
the way,
side of...
we just saw a Lavalanche for 10 or 12.
Conley Woods
from
now.
Conley Woods out of the corner of my eye here.
Yeah, we saw that Kibler's deck was set up behind double wall of denial. He couldn't lose, but he also couldn't win. His deck a little light on victory
Yeah,
conditions.
there were just enough threats to force Kibler to use his traumatic visions earlier. He had a soul manipulation, a creature along the way.
And all of a sudden, Conley Woods just sets up after a long game, gigantic Lavalanche, and
Right.
Conley Woods up 2-0. Maybe knocking Kibler out here in the quarterfinals. Wow. So, here we go. Tom Ross leads with a Nakatl. Visionary comes down for Reitzel. We talked about Reitzel's deck. It's green-red with just a touch of black. It could have been a sick Naya deck with double Steward, double Knight of New Alara. However, Reitzel didn't want to go white because he knew Kibler on his right was going to be drafting Esper. So he's like, I won't even fight for white. I'll just be red-green, maybe wound up touching a little bit of black. And as a result, he shipped a lot of really good white cards and has a good red-green deck. But again, I think both of these guys feel like, if they'd been psychic during the draft, things might have been able to go a little bit
lot of the
better.
best cards in Tom's deck sort of come to him courtesy of Paul Reitzel.
That's true. It's true. Yeah, I mean, the white that Reitzel issued went all the way to the other side of the table and wound up with Tom Ross. So Reitzel's got, he's got Dragon Fodder, Double Visionary, Druid, some nice, decent curve, got a Hissing Iguana and a Skeleton Eyes and a Michaeloth. Does have a Blightning as part of his Black Splash, along with a Carrion Thrash. Yoka the Damned is in that Black Splash. Saracelum Archers, got a Leotau, Scarland Thrynax.
Saracelum Archers, we think was Reitzel's first pick in the Conflux.
Carabid, couple Border Posts, Rocks Brute, Valley Raynor. Didn't get as much of a hookup in Reborn as maybe was hoping for. Putrid Leech and Backlash are pretty good. Decent red-green touch black deck for Reitzel. I think a good green-white touch red deck for Ross. See what happens. Michaeloff was good enough to get the job done eventually in Game 2. And here we see Cycled Naya Sojourner. Oh, and there's the Lapse of Certainty again. Tom Ross has been very good with that card. So he's got his Nakatl. He attacked and got Naya Sojourner's counter put onto it. So then Nakatl is beating for 3 despite the lack of a mountain.
Red's the splash for us. He sided in that Rakamar.
He sided in Rakamar?
That was not his...
no, it's double red. I did not expect him to run it at all.
Set.
Surprised you brought it in. He doesn't have that much red.
Reitzel's under the gun very quickly here.
Guess I'm done attacking for a while.
Reitzel's man is in good shape, though. And there's Rock's Brute.
Yeah.
Tom Ross could really use a mountain.
4? Mm-hmm. Like a million.
4 full Nakatl, so a lot better than 3/3 Nakatl on this board.
Oblivion Ring.
O-rings for Rock's Brute. Yeah, Reitzel taking a beating here. Here comes 4 more. Time to chump block with Visionary. Can he afford to go down to 5?
Maybe just hoping to save that for his Michael off.
So this would probably actually
Be nice. Reitzel's hand might have Alara. Yeah, chump block.
No, not a chump block. He's got might have Alara there.
So it works out to be a trade.
Yep. Take one.
Go.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. Carry crash. Yeah, listening to Kibler sort of doing the analysis out loud of his second game there. He used the traumatic visions to stop a Grixis charm because Kibler was getting his only flyer killed. It's like, if I don't counter the Grixis charm, he's just going to deck me.
Or Lavalanche you for
Right.
monstrous amounts.
Go.
Knight of New Alara.
That is a 3/7 Grizzled Leotau.
Yes, it is.
So we were wondering about the amount of removal in Reitzel's deck before. I know you just rolled
Yeah, it's
through
pretty
it.
light.
He's got the skeleton eyes.
Yeah, buddy.
He actually has the skeleton eyes in his hand.
2/2 and 3/7. Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that's actually it.
Oh, interesting. Yoke of the Damned, skeleton eyes.
No, I didn't see the yoke. Okay. Very nice play.
Okay. You got
Yep, that'll take out both creatures.
Need a skeleton.
You'll get a 1/1 regenerating skeleton for his trouble.
And get his beat on.
Yeah, Thrash comes in for 4.
14 minute.
Yeah.
I'm done.
One. Got a one.
One card. Thanks, sir.
All of a sudden, Tom Ross behind on the board.
Go.
Game where he was the beatdown for quite a while. Bodyguard comes down. Ross picks up a couple life and a 2/3. Quick game 3 between Nico Hebke and Zach Hill, and it's Hebke with an army of flyers taking a 2-1 lead. So Zach Hill back against the wall.
The two most popular players in this top 8 in terms of their following, both with their backs up against the wall.
Zach and Brian.
Yeah.
Reitzel sizes things up.
Hissing
Hissing Iguanar. And attacks with his 4/4 Thresh. Ross just takes it, right?
Yeah.
13? Done.
Ash's favor. Wow, Reitzel has to pick it up and read it. What is that?
So flying, first strikes,
First
vigilance.
strike?
Yep.
And of course, it's
And
an exalted
exalted.
creature, so that is
That's
3
two-
in the air.
That's 2 punches or 3 punches.
Yeah.
Go.
These 2 cards still there?
Reitzel deep in thought now. Reitzel
What am I gonna do?
studying.
You can see Paul's hands, which are just scraped up. He's been just swimming and having a great time. He is just
Yeah, look
scraped
at the
raw
ribs.
from coral.
Yes. All right. Attacks with his Thresh.
That is a sideboarded card, I'm fairly certain. No, he started the Asher's favor.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I... Ross looking over, hoping that's good enough.
I'm impressed with his composure.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been around for a long time. He's played on the Pro Tour before. This is not. He was near the top tables in the last time the Pro Tour was in Hawaii.
So, it was 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So I believe we're in Reitzel's main phase still. Reitzel is sizing things up. I'm pretty sure what he's trying to figure out is what to do with his Michaelov. Because he has Michaelov in hands. He's got that 3-4, he's got the 2-3 flying, exalted, first striking vigilance creature on the other side of the table, which is going to kill him in 2 hits. So how quickly can Michaelov get the job done? His opponent's on 13. Looks like border post comes down. Then that last card in his hand is a Michaelov. All right, what do you sacrifice?
Is there something he wants to grow back? He can eat the carry and thrash.
He can eat the thrash. He's got the 2 mana to grow something back. He may or may not want to eat the hissing Iguanar because its ability to do little pings and damage is potentially useful. This is tricky. His opponent's on 13, and Paul is, I think, dead on board, right? Is he basically playing for the top of his deck? Like, I don't think
he's dead in 2 turns.
But he only gets 1 more attack phase, right?
Right.
He's already attacked this turn. His opponent's on 13. There's basically, can he do 13 next turn? Like, how big can Michaelov get?
He can get it to a 10-10.
That's not 13. Oh, is he 1 short?
10-10, and you would lose 2 life.
Yeah, so he can effectively threaten to put his opponent to 1 next turn, but he cannot actually threaten lethal.
Which is what he's doing.
Right. So the Iguanar is going to see 2 of those creatures die for 2 points. That'll drop Ross to 11.
He grows something back.
For 2.
He returns Elvish Visionary to his hand.
2 creatures.
I think the previous life total must have been wrong. So Ross is actually, so this Michaelov is lethal. It's 5 to 7 apparently. Oh, so we missed the carry and thresh attack. Yeah, Reitzel has basically played this to turn his Michaelov lethal.
Oh.
Yeah, come on, nothing, he says. Oh, Mountain is not nothing. Colossal Might, Tom Ross, top decks the red mana that he needed to Colossal Might, fly over on the last possible turn, and Reitzel peeks, looks at the top card of his deck, and it looks like it must have been a goodie. Wow, Paul played that game really well. Set up his Michaelov where Ross was going to be forced to chump block it. Right, Ross is going to be forced to chump block and lose his bodyguard. Basically, Ross had to draw a relevant card. Now, he did have red cards in his hand, so Mountain, there's sort of a lot of outs in his decks, given that any Mountain would counted. Ross drew the Mountain he needed, and all of a sudden, Tom Ross has put Paul Reitzel's back against the wall. Ross leads 2 games to 1.
You had a real class in that you did not in that phase? Or a jump blocker, really, actually.
So it sounds like we're going to go over and look at the...
Yeah, I want to go back and see how Kibler and Conley Woods are doing. Let's go back where we started.
So I get to peek ahead here at an extra monitor, and I can see...
No, now everybody gets to see it.
Oh, there it goes.
Kibler's side of the board is a Trailblazer, a Death Duelist, a Wall of Denial, and an Executioner's Capsule. On the other side of the board, we also have Wall of Denial, Paragon of Amnesia, and Pale Recluse.
There was a Scepter of Dominance in play, and that has gone away.
Capsule takes out the Recluse, so Kibler can get his beat on. Volcanic Submersion seems to have done that again. That Volcanic Submersion has been spectacular. Conley Woods has taken out a land creating a mana screw, has taken a border post creating a mana screw, a Scepter, and a Scepter.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive Volcanic Submersion.
Going to trade the...
Yeah, Conley does decide to trade his Paragon for the Death Duelist, while Dial blocks the Trailblazer, and no damage. Scornful Aetherless comes down. Conley taps for Flesh Former and a Dark Temper to take out the attacker. So now...
Take out the Aetherless, yeah.
Kibler has got the Trailblazer, but there's Wall of Denial.
Drag down the Flesh Former.
Drags down the Flesh Former. Doesn't want to see those 5-color shenanigans get going.
But Wall of Denial does its thing. No one can get through.
Right. Yeah, it's funny. Kibler was very happy with this deck as he drafted it. He felt like 2 wall denials and a scepter meant that his opponent was never going to be able to kill him. I don't think he counted on playing against an opponent with a lava lanch.
There's Kiss of the Amisha.
25.
I mean, lava lanch is often good, usually good, but it is at its best when it's turn 20.
There's a
Canyon Minotaur?
Canyon Minotaur, yeah.
Yep.
Bant Sureblade.
Kiss of the Amisha puts Kibler on the hook to get decked. I think decking is actually relevant in this game. Both certainly relevant for Kibler, right?
Yeah.
Kibler capable of playing defense, saving his traumatic visions to stop a lava lanch.
There's an artillery sphere to sort of even it out a little bit. I don't know what happened this game as far as mulligans or...
Kibler just has the one counter spell, right? He's got one traumatic
one
vision.
traumatic visions, one...
Call to heal
there.
Manages to stop Grixis Charm from taking out his flyer.
Okay.
Yeah, Kibler's really been forced to defend his flyers because of the wall of denial in his opponent's deck.
So we talked about him not having
He doesn't have a
flyers.
ton. He's got some nice engine parts, he's got some great defense, but doesn't have a lot of flyers to actually win the game with, so he's forced to defend them from each individual removal spell. In the second game, he used his traumatic visions to stop that very same Grixis Charm, and then wound up not having the visions for Lava Lanch, so he lost to Lava Lanch.
I have to imagine he
Call to
doesn't
heal is
want to
pretty good
use
timing.
his traumatic visions for anything but lava
I
lanch.
completely agree.
And it'll be tricky, I think, for Conley to put him under enough pressure to force him to use his traumatic visions elsewhere.
I mean, Conley pulled it off in the second game, apparently. Kibler felt like, I'm going to get decked if I let this Grixis Charm pick off my flyer, so... And even now, he defended the Trailblazer, but it's not like he can attack with it. There's still a wall of denial over there. Conley's got all his colors.
Conley.
Is it?
16.
Conley's going to take 2.
Can't block the first striking Sureblade.
That is nothing for Conley. 3 lands in his hands. 2, 4, 6, 9 lands in play.
14.
He's not taking a lot of damage very quick, though.
Conley's up 2 games to 0 here.
25 to 14 are the life totals.
12.
Conley now at 12.
There is Filigree Sages.
And there's the other Recluse.
Gets Soul Manipulation.
Oh, soul manipulation. That's really good for
Bringing back the
Brian.
Scornful Ether Lich, which
Now-
is a way to bust through the wall of denial.
Yes,
also.
it is. He stops the 4/5 reach blocker from coming down. He picks up another potential attacker. This is the way Kibler drew it up. Still picking away for 2 of damage. Now he gets to add the Ether Lich back to the board.
Make sure he has Traumatic Visions mana up.
Does he in fact have the visions in his hand? Yes, he does. Kibler has Traumatic Visions in his hand, so things looking really good for Brian here. Looks like he's going to force game 4. Still got a long road to come back, but this game is going just the way he drew it up. So 4 damage. Is Conley down to 4 now? Or is he on 6?
Yeah, he just took 6 there, right? Took Filigree Sages, Ether Lich.
Sure.
There's Esperzoa.
Esperzoa. That should do it. Ah, Slave Driver.
Get 6.
Correct.
Kibler sizes up his attack.
Oh, is that was all?
I'm not sure if that's okay. That's fine.
Grixis Slave Driver sticks.
Time order post.
Sure.
Picks up his border post for the
We're going to go watch Game 5 between Hepke and Zach Hill. Zach has sent it to Game 5, wins Game 4. So 2 apiece.
Ring
Looks
on
like an
the-
O-ring on the slave driver.
Still gives it 2-2.
Lines up 3 attacks. Trailblazer, Esperzoa, and Ether Lich. So the wall can truly block 1.
So he's taking 4 here.
Yeah. He's going to have to what? Jump block the Lich with the black 2-2? Take 2? Or he can take 4 down to 2. No really good answers here. Conley Woods is going to get 1 more turn. He's hoping to draw Lava Lance, but
Take 2.
we
He
know...
does jump block with the
But
toe.
it's
Yeah.
not lane, correct?
No, that's traumatic visualization.
Yeah, Conley Woods hoping to top deck Lava Lance, but no.
Shows him that he's got
Wow,
3 lands.
handful of land. All right,
Oh, my
Brian
land.
Kibler has won this game. We are going to go to table C. We're going to watch game 5 between Mikkel Hepke and Zach Hill. Over here, Kibler smiling a little bit. He's on the scoreboard. He is still down 2-1. But he's on the scoreboard. Got to win the next 2 if he wants to go to the semis.
Sorry, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Says a quick hi, apologizes for the bathroom trip. That's okay, Brian. We were moving the cameras away from you anyway. We're moving the cameras over there. Zach Hill is on the right of your screen. Mikkel Hepke is on the left. So, Zach Hill, we've talked about this story a couple of times. Zach is a policy analyst on a Luce Fellowship. He's actually living in Malaysia right now for a year, helping out with policy issues there. He's been playing Magic for a while. He's a very well-known writer on the free side of Star City games. He designs a lot of decks that other people have won with, but now this weekend, it's him doing the winning. You see 48 pro points, really a breakthrough weekend for him. He hasn't had that top 8 before. And, Grand Prix second place, losing to Nakamura. But here he is.
He said he played a lot more Magic going away from the United States and moving to Malaysia.
Wow. Yeah, he really talked in, if you go back and watch the deck tech with him, about how Magic helped him sort of meet the locals. Found a Friday Night Magic store, let it be known online that he was moving there, and all these people came out to introduce themselves and sort of open their arms and bring him into the Malaysian Magic community. So yeah, he's been playing a lot of Magic. Got here with a 5-color Cascade deck in Block Constructed, sort of all the way up to Cruel Ultimatum, had a Nico Bolas in his deck, figured whoever abuses Bloodbraid the most is going to win. He thinks they abuse it the most. I actually think Conley Woods' deck might abuse it a little better, but there you go. In draft, he wants to be white if he can. He's happy to audible into 5-color. In this particular draft, he got past Tower Gargoyle, took that as a sign to go into Esper, opened to Banefire, so he's, Esper with a splash, and there you go. Other side of the board, Mikkel Hepke, the 22-year-old from the Czech Republic, lives in Prague. First top 8, not his first Pro Tour. He's sort of been around as part of the really burgeoning Czech scene. Martin Juz has been putting up consistent results for about a year now. We saw Zadokai make the top 8 in Berlin. We saw Bohan almost make the top 8 here and built the deck that Hepke made. Hepke got his draft advice from Martin Juz that said, go blue-white. So he first picks Step Duelist, and he forces blue-white. Hepke's also been on the Czech national team. He's been here in Honolulu. He's been, sunbathing at the beach a little bit, really waiting for, and really just enjoying the tournament. Played 5-color Control in Constructed. Both of these guys got here with 5-color Control decks and Alara Block Constructed. He's a student and making his Pro Tour debut. Very first Pro Tour for Mikkel Hepke. Now here he sits in his Pro Tour debut, 1 game away from the semifinals. He's won 2 games. Zach Hill has won 2 games, and the winner of this match goes to the semis, where they'll face either Brian Kibler or Conley Woods. A blade comes down on turn 2, the Hush Blade. Zach counters with a protection from green Zombie Outlander. Pretty good answer.
Yeah.
Hepke has no turn 3 play, though he does have all 3 colors for his band deck. Outlander attacks for Zach Hill.
He's going to fortify with a, no Esper Stormblade this turn. Instead, Parasitic Strix, drain you for 2.
Oh, wow. Playing it pretty aggressively. I guess you can always trade the Strix for the Hush Blade, even if it goes to 3-2. Yep, Messenger Falcons. Exactly what Hepke wants there. And Zach does indeed trade. Makes sense. now Zach no longer has the option of blocking the green creature on the other side of the table, so presumably the ghoul gets in there for 2 more. 14 to 22. Oh, did Zach just ship the turn?
That he's sitting on
No.
soul manipulation, and he's got
no white mana is what he's got.
yeah.
He's got a Stormblade in his hand, which is exactly what he would want with this pretty aggressive start, but he played it to go aggro, really needs to draw white mana. His hand just a border post for Hepke, so Zach does not get the opportunity to soul manipulation. They're trading 2 for 2, so Zach's still sort of winning here. 5th land for Zach.
Okay.
And, there's
Can't
the
play
Stormblade.
Stormblade.
You're right, you don't need white mana for that. He
Blue.
just chose not to because he wanted to sit on soul manipulation. My bad.
And he,
It's only blue that's the required.
Right.
It's the first striker that
blue and
requires
then
white mana.
black-white hybrid, and then he's got soul manipulation for the parasitic Strix sitting in his graveyard.
Wow.
Looks
I'm sure he'd still feel better if he had a little bit of white mana, but you're right.
Sure he would.
Zach is totally content with the way this deck is played out.
So just I heard from Tim Pfeiffer via Twitter.
Yeah.
Tim's at the Games and Gizmos in Redmond. He's
Sure.
watching the Honolulu finals, eating pizza and drafting, and says thanks, Watsy.
Wow. That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah. I think they're set up for about 50 players there. They have a special feed for the finals coverage.
Wow. All right. So where are we now?
Oh.
Seventh mana for.
Oh, you accelerated into that? Okay.
Yeah, Hepke paid full price for a border post so that he could get to 7 here.
Oh, and there's an
that's
obelisk
the
of Alara. That
obelisk.
is not soul
You cannot soul
manipulatable.
manipulation that. Exactly.
Well, these are shots.
Wondering what he could have had.
Ouch. That is not the way Zach drew this up. I like this play. Sit on soul manipulation. If he stops a creature, he's got a couple of aggressive attackers, but Obelisk of Alara was not part of the plan.
And so now he can loot.
He can gain
He
5.
can gain 5, or he can pump
Make some
4.
money, right? Pump 4 is pretty good.
Doesn't seem like it's the time for that just yet.
Well, it'll hold off everybody but the pro-green guy if he needs it to, right? You threaten that and then gain 5.
Gonna block the Stormblade.
All right, Hepke decides to trade his Falcons for the Stormblade, so he
So
takes
10.
2 down to 10. Ghoul versus Obelisk is not a good race for Zach Hill. Dreadscape Zombie gets him up to 4 power, but still going to be losing ground to the life gaining from the Obelisk.
Also on Twitter, Krovax the Crazy wants to know why Kibler is so loud. He's not even on screen.
Anyone asking why Kibler is so loud clearly has not met the man. He is who he is.
Zach
Good
had felt a
times.
lot better about this match 1 turn ago.
Yes. Obelisk's an issue. It's about the only thing Hepke could do there, too. Right? Had to be basically some sizable non-creature threat.
So
All right, here's
Cormorant.
Cormorant. Yeah, I assume you saw manipulation and bring back the Strix here.
That into Strix. Try to out-tempo him.
Right. Hard to out-tempo through an Obelisk. Dude's got 7 mana.
Right. Basically, Zach can lose. Only lose 1 point of traction there.
Right.
Next turn.
Well, he turns to one damage profit next.
1 damage profit. Yeah, you're right.
And gets up to 6 power. But now, Hepke's got a bunch of mana. If Hepke's got any threats in his hand, and Hepke's got a crystallization in his hand and a resounding wave. He can go land crystallization here. If he wants to just turn off the zombie.
He can only crystallize the
Dreadscape zombie. The other one, it's a ghoul and a zombie, right? What do you think? Do you crystallize Dreadscape zombie?
I think I would. Just, you're gonna, the Strix is coming down. You're gonna be falling behind.
That's what he does. All right, Zach can hit for 2, but the obelisk is going to send Hebke up to a net +3. Zach got any answers?
Mask.
Well, he's got the ability to look for answers. Draws a card. It's an island. Does Zach have answers to obelisk? I mean, what is he supposed to do?
I mean, he really has to outrace it.
Does he have like an O-ring or something?
Sure. Let's take a look. Zach Hill has...
His hand is a Strix, a Mechanist, an island, and...
I mean, he can just... I mean, he can Banefire his opponent out as long as he can keep him low enough.
Now, the
He's got Deny Reality to buy himself a turn. He can get out ahead on the
Mechanist comes down.
That's right.
Well, Mechanist gets summoned anyway. Yeah. Zach. Whiffs. No artifacts. Paul Reitzel has equalized.
Okay.
Reitzel has equalized. We'll be playing a game 5 between Paul Reitzel and Tom Ross.
Yep.
Mechanist and Strix now on 16. Zach Hill's side of the table.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure. Yep.
Sonny, he actually can't attack with his ghoul anymore, right? 1/3 artifact creature, blue-white artifact creature, and despite being pro-green and fearful, or having fearsomeness, no attacking. So Hebke gets a turn of just +5 life. Zach doing his best to put out threats, but outracing Obelisk of Alara is hard. Did you find any answers on the deck list?
I did not find any answers.
Not a single thing?
I mean, he's got again, he can deny he's got to buy himself a couple turns, but it's
Tempo it with like Deny Reality, Banefire, stuff like that?
yeah.
Draw a card? Sure.
Oh, Hebke's looting. Hebke doesn't look real happy. Painful decision about what to discard, I guess?
Sure.
Zach's certainly concerned by the obelisk. Now what? Equal?
Sure.
Now Guardians of Akrasa?
Yep.
0-4 wall. So now that guy's now is 1/3 double exalted, winds up as a 3/5, and is attacking. Oh, Brian Kibler just used Brain Bite to deprive Conley Woods of a Avalanche. Kibler's got to be feeling a little better now.
If you heard
He
Kibler
may
say,
indeed
get that
do.
out of here.
Yeah,
That's
get
what he
that
was
out of
talking
here.
One card
about.
in hand? So yeah? One card in your hand? One card.
Brain Bite was not main deck. He obviously signed in the Hellion and
Oh,
the
sure.
Avalanche.
Okay, take 3. I see. Go.
All right. Now, Zach gets to attack again. No more 1/3 blue-white artifact creature blockers available. Couple of flyers and a ghoul.
3 cards, right? 3 cards.
So 6 power headed over.
Conley Woods.
Oh, Conley Woods wins anyway. What happened?
He just
Pressure
played
and guys. Flesh Former with all 5 colors, and Conley Woods wins. Brian Kibler is eliminated from this tournament, and it'll be Conley Woods sitting in the semifinals waiting for the winner of this game.
Quit. Okay. Cool. No.
So Zach just targeted his Dreadscape zombie in order to get it into the graveyard because, of course, it has on Earth. This way, he'll be able to bring it back out later.
But
Spent his mana just moving his equipment around in order to knock off.
crystallization removes it from the game.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, if it becomes the target.
Oh, I thought it just destroyed.
Yeah. He may have thought that too. But
Oh, it's removed.
maybe
I thought
here,
it was
here's,
buried.
here's Zach
well,
Hill
that's awkward,
realize
but-
that he will not get his Dreadscape zombie back. I mean,
It just wasted 4 mana for no purpose.
Here I am thinking I was doing something that was so sophisticated. Sure.
Discard?
Yep. Sure.
so is Hebke continuing to loot here?
I think so. Worried about his ability to win, I guess. I'm not sure I agree. I'm not sure 12 is safe.
Go.
All right.
He's gonna move that over to one of his
Yeah.
flyers.
Moves the mask over to a flyer because, again, Hebke's now got his 1/3 back on defense.
No blocks?
So here's 4 power and a card. What is that?
That is Bant Charm. Destroying the artifact. He's
Oh, destroy target artifact.
destroying
That's right. Bant Charm can destroy an artifact. Knocks the mask away. So Zach Hill's card flow stops.
Draw?
Yep.
That wasn't a bad one. So yeah? So that wasn't a bad one.
Hebke at
Hebke
8.
is fallen to 8. Which, if a red mana showed up, would be Banefire range, but he can gain 5.
Yeah, there's an untapped obelisk. But before attacking
He's
the
been
air.
using it on his turn to draw a card.
It's true. Yeah, Hebke is definitely chosen to loot to try to dig for cards, and leaves himself sort of on the edge of Banefire range.
And he can't, well, get in for 3 here.
Yep.
Doesn't have to worry about the mask
No
anymore,
block.
so the
Right.
Guardians of Mascara can block the zombie. So he's
Right, right.
he can net
Yeah.
1 life a turn.
Right. So attacks for 3.
Okay. 16.
And down comes the Screecher.
Sure. No.
Looked like Hill drew a swamp there. Not the most exciting draw. He's drawn a fair amount of land this game. Flyers go in. Hebke lines up a block.
Sure. Image on stuck? Sure. Image. Climb? Sure. Take 2.
Giant growth
Yep.
instead of...
I like it. I think that's right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it does run the risk of Banefire right there. Would have been lethal. But without,
Yep.
now that Hebke survived that turn, feels like he played this a little risky, but he's now basically stopped Zach Hill's attack, right? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10. Yeah, Hebke's counting up the lands. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Has he seen it?
Must have. The way he's counting, right?
He's at 6.
That giant growth was pretty risky.
He can go to 11
No
here.
Giant growth was very risky. Would have lost to Mountain Banefire on the spot.
Just keep looking gas.
Now here's Death Duelist.
I mean... Yeah.
Zach says
Yep.
keep ripping gas, and Hebke points. He's like, why do you
Been
think I was
looting.
looting with the obelisk?
Still no red mana from
Can't
Zach.
Yep.
And Zach's offense is pretty blunted, so
So now
gain
Hebke
5,
points.
Hebke up to 13, untapped obelisk. Oh, Hebke's apparently never seen the Banefire.
Attack?
If he doesn't know about it, then... I mean, he's counting mana. It's obviously a hypothetical possibility.
Okay.
Playing the game very cautiously now. Just only attacking with his Death Duelist, getting in for 4 for striking damage.
Sure. Zach down to 9.
Yep.
Keeps playing out lands.
Yep.
Sepke in a loot because he doesn't know about Banefire.
Sure.
He's going to drop.
Yeah.
Sure. My turn? Yep. Draw. Yep.
Yeah, if Zach can attack, get him to Giant Growth, and then Banefire him,
Still got to draw the Banefire, right?
hand him Mountain.
I think he has the Mountain.
Oh, does he?
Sorry? Yep.
Yeah, but the Obelisk can take Hepke to 16.
No block. Okay. No offense. 5.
Zach Hill down to 5. All right. Last couple of turns. Zach Hill has a Mountain in his hand.
Go.
He needs to draw a Banefire, and he needs his opponent to not use Obelisk on life gain. I think he just drew Deny Reality, which is kind of interesting.
Lots of support for Conley Woods, by the way, on Twitter.
Yeah?
Yeah, Dave Meeson and Eric McCormick, both pulling for him. They're in Colorado.
Makes sense. So Zach's got Deny Reality. It seems like you just bounce Obelisk here, right? I mean, what else are you going to do?
Maybe he's going to be... Yeah.
Deny Reality.
No, he's going to bounce
The Screecher.
the Screecher.
Huh.
Hope he doesn't cascade
Screecher?
into Banefire.
Yeah.
He gets the Screecher.
Wait. Yeah, it's just still turning.
Not sure what Hepke's thinking about.
Okay.
This will allow Zach to attack for a couple.
Yep.
For 2. Maybe.
He's secretly thinking to himself, loot. Don't gain 5, don't gain 5, don't gain 5.
No. No blocks.
Loot.
9. Go.
So Hepke's at 9, and what's he going to do with his Obelisk?
Enough turn.
He's tapping blue. He's also tapping white. Oh, Zach is at 5.
Sure.
He loots.
This card? Yep.
Discards a Screecher.
Discard Screecher, Hasty Flyer.
That,
Draw?
yep, it's not quite lethal, is it? It is. You can Giant Growth, right? Oh, there's a blocker.
Giant Growth, whichever one is.
There's 2 blockers, so you can...
Whichever one's on.
Are there 3?
There's 3 attackers. Can't Giant Growth and Death Duelist, so that would be the one that gets through, but so if he plays the Cathar's Creature, that means he'll have 4 attackers.
Oh, so if he brings back Screecher, he has 4 attackers.
Right. And the Giant Growth.
That plus Giant Growth will actually get the job done. So Hepke has the win, but
he doesn't know what's in Zach's
exactly.
hand.
He's got that seems crazy to me to go for that win. Right? He's in such control with Obelisk. It seems really risky. Like,
it doesn't look like he's
you
going
get blown out by any random instant. So in fact, Hepke has the win on board if he knew about it. I mean, if he knew Zach's hand.
But by discarding the Screecher, he's also opening himself up to 4 in the air next turn.
True.
Which is going to still leave him within Banefire distance, even with Hepke gaining a life.
Brings out the Screecher. Is he going to go for it?
He's going to go for it. He is not bringing the Death Duelist.
Oh, not this.
Outlander, awkward. Block the Outlander, block the Knight.
Zach picks up his
I
hand
don't
and
think I
attempts
saw
to
the
look as
stretch
threatening as possible.
I don't think I saw the Strix was.
2 cards? Yep.
Does he go for it? Giant Growth is lethal. Zach has no answer.
He doesn't know that, though.
This is risky. Like, I'm not...
Here it goes.
+4/+4. Yep, that is.
Wow.
And
There you go. Michael
You're
Hefke.
screwing up and me drawing
Through.
my game, I believe.
Where was it? Where was it? Almost at the bottom.
Did you notice Yeah. No. You knew what you were doing.
All right.
I didn't know it.
Hefke wins. Michael Hefke wins 3-2.
No, that's what I'm saying.
He and Zach Hill are going to do the post-game denouement that these pros always do, trying to figure out what were you thinking, what was I thinking, how did we play it, did we do it right?
I had to get the damage in because I had to leave myself.
Hefke will be playing Conley Woods in the one semifinal. In the other, Kazuya Mitamura waits for the winner of this game. Is it going to be Paul Reitzel? Is it going to be Tom Ross? We'll find out 1 game from now.
there they are on camera. They've already
All right, tied
drawn
2
their
games
hands,
apiece.
done
They've already
the
drawn their
mulligans.
hands. They're keeping those cards.
Ross lost the last game, so he's on the play.
It leads with Wild Nakatl. Pretty good one drop. I heard Reitzel saying while they were waiting that I can't beat you with these 7. I got to draw some gas. I think Reitzel's been saying that a lot. Looks like Grizzled Leotau comes down.
Get him for 2.
What is that?
That looks like... Is that Dragon Fodder?
Dragon Fodder, a pair of 1/1s for Paul Reitzel.
Can't attack with the Wild.
Yeah, it doesn't want to trade it for 2 tokens. That doesn't work.
Gets a red squishman out of bounds.
That's not legal. You can't actually spend 3 mana for that.
Oh, can't even do that. Yeah.
Is that what? Have white, green, and play border post?
Oh, he tapped.
Yeah, he did tap white. Yeah, I saw that happen a couple times this weekend. Seems like if you have 3 mana, you ought to be able to play your border post, but no, it takes a red. It takes both its colors.
Yep.
It does not generate a free color if you play it for full price.
And Paul jumped on that immediately.
Right.
Okay. Wait, we return plan server for us. Okay, got it.
And they've looks like they've fixed that. He picked up the planes.
Before that cost 3 colors.
What's that?
Before the card cost 3 colors.
Picked up the planes and possibly a warning.
Probably a caution. I don't think it was deliberate.
So Conley Wood's playing in his second Pro Tour, his first actual Pro Tour. He played in World before this. He's
Sure.
advancing to the semifinals. Michael Hepke playing in his first Pro Tour,
Right?
advancing to the semifinals.
Yeah, we talked about all the new faces here. Reitzel's actually going aggro. He's attacking with those 2 dragon tokens. Interesting.
He says, I got something.
Yeah, he's clearly implying a trick. Two Wild Nakatl has the ability to block and potentially pick off a dragon token. I mean, Paul has, I believe, Colossal Might in his deck. Is that right? I know he's been talking about Colossal Might. All right.
He does have a Colossal.
Ross calls it. And there's the Colossal Might.
There it is.
It's one of those where it's like,
How do you feel about
Ross,
that?
I like blocking. I actually think blocking is underrated. I think it's like, okay, Paul spends his entire turn on Colossal Might. It's a 1-for-1 trade. It's not like you got destroyed there. You traded your Wild Nakatl for his Colossal Might. I mean, you take some damage, but the thing is, if you're going to take it there, if you're not going to block, you're essentially saying, I'm going to play around Colossal Might forever. I figured that I've got this good read. I know what's in your hand, and I'm going to punish you for it. But you can't play around that card forever. Let's just get this over with. And you often, especially on like a turn 3 or a turn 4 or a turn 5, you're often picking up a tempo boost because they spent their mana.
Right.
They didn't summon a creature.
Yes, take
right?
this
You
turn.
made them
Yeah,
spend their
spend
mana.
their mana, yeah.
Brian Hacker taught me that play way back in the day. Hacker was a big fan of like, I'm going to make you spend your mana on your Giant Growth effect, and now I'm up a creature.
19, right?
So Rock's bodyguard after hissing a Guanar from Paul.
And it looks like,
A 2-6 Grizzly
yeah,
Leotau.
that'll get in there.
Should be 15 for me, 19 for you, right? How many cards are you?
Sugi Minamura beat Christophe Gregoire 3-1. He waits for the winner of this match. Minamura, however this turns out, clearly now the veteran presence. Right, Kibler had the most pro points in this top 8, but Minamura's got 100 of his own and 3 Sunday appearances.
A couple of people have pointed out the Banefire was at the bottom of Zach's deck. It's
Yeah, I
been
saw when they
Mechanist.
flipped over. Oh, he saw it with
And it's been
Mechanist?
Mechanist down.
Awkward.
And Rashad Miller says, loot, loot, loot.
Yoke of the Damned onto the Leotau. Now he's going to attack with a Guanar, offering up an exchange. I'm willing to trade my Guanar for your bodyguard as long as
Your Grizzled Leotau and my
Yoke
of the
also
Damned
trade.
also go.
It's an interesting little attack there from Reitzel. Just a 1 Colossal Might?
Yep, just one. Tom is thinking about accepting the trade.
Well, I mean, getting a Guanar off the board is good. It's 2 for 2. It's not terrible.
And it's not like Rock's bodyguard or Grizzled Leotau are, you know.
Right. I think I would accept this trade too. I don't know. I mean, I guess you can try to
You're
play
gonna,
to
you're
make
gonna lose your Leotau.
eventually.
I mean,
As soon as he jump blocks for the Goblin.
Nope, he takes it.
Go.
Plays
Rupture Spire.
Summons Rupture Spire.
And Tom says go. Doesn't want to attack into a token.
Right. He would rather, you know, if Paul offers the same trade, he'd rather just trade the Leotau straight.
Right. And it's a 2 for 1.
Probably just attack with the token. One token here. We're playing Cabin Thaktar.
Might as well attack with a token here, right? Why would you not attack with a dork?
Doesn't care.
I mean, you're happy if it gets through, and you're happy if it dies, I think. Unless he's got Michael off.
And no matter what, Tom would take 2 there.
Right.
Takes 1 or 2. This doesn't look good for Tom.
Certainly, Reitzel keeps summoning threats, and Tom has said go a couple times. Mastodon.
Go.
The way this match has played out so far, Ross has won when he's been able to come out as the aggressor. Reitzel has actually done better in the mid-game. His bigger monsters. Oh, Skeleton Eyes on Mastodon. That is gigantic. That Skeleton Eyes will take out the Mastodon, trigger the Yoke of the Damned.
That triggers that.
Down goes
Yoke.
Yoke. Down goes Leotau. Hissing a Guanar does 2 damage. Kaplow. And now there's a mere 2-3 blocker, and Reitzel gets to size up and attack. I think you just bring the team. Yeah, send them. Get everybody in there. I mean, the best block Ross has is to trade with a Guanar, which is, I assume, what he'll do. I mean, he can pick off a Goblin token, but then he also still takes the damage from the Guanar. I think you have to trade for a Guanar. It's funny, that's the trade Reitzel offered him previously that he declined. Yeah, he's got to.
Card Martial Coup. Is it destroy all creatures that can regenerate from Martial Coup? If you have X5 or greater, right?
Destroy all creatures.
You can regenerate then.
Reitzel trying to figure out how he can lose.
What card is going to blow me out here?
Well, does he pump is the question. He can pump Thaktar with his mana, or he can hold it up against the possible Martial. He doesn't actually have Martial, right?
No, he does not.
Alright, so...
But Paul doesn't know that. It's like, damage is not worth it. So the 1 damage from the bodyguard dying does come from missing a Guanar, so that's 5, 6, 7, 8 damage.
Yeah, because 7... No, 1. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and the 1 damage, Paul figured it doesn't matter. I've got 8 power, you're at 7. I'll get you next time.
Got me.
There you go.
Oh my gosh.
Paul Reitzel through to the semis. Smash! Pretty weak draw for Tom Ross there, and Reitzel, I thought, played it really well.
Right, mulligan to that hand.
Mulliganed into that hand, manipulated around the board, and Paul Reitzel will be in the semifinals against Kazuya Minamura.
That's good card.
So we are going to take a lunch break.
Same old card.
We've got a lunch break queued up. We'll be back for the semifinals in about an hour.
I had like 11 or 12.
It'll be Mikkel Hebke of the Czech Republic playing against Conley Woods. Hebke got 3-2 over Zach Hill. Woods got 3-1 over Kibler. So you got sort of on that side of the bracket. Zach Hill and Brian Kibler probably had the two loudest followings, but they're both gone. So other side of the bracket, the familiar names won.
The veteran
Reitzel, it was Minamura. Those are the guys that are going to be through to the semis. We're going to go get some lunch. We'll talk to these guys, see how they're feeling. We'll be back in about an hour with coverage of the semis. So we're going to throw you to some video we've got queued up. Take a look at the beach house, the new beach house. We got good stuff this weekend. Everybody's been having a lot of fun in Honolulu, and there's more fun to be had. We'll be back in about an hour.